Coach, it was great to see you, albeit via Zoom. Obviously, it's been a different kind of preseason, as we all know. Can you just kind of assess where you are as a defensive line? I know there's always goals about getting a playing rotation ready to go. I know you had to deal with a few issues with opt-outs and everything, but can you kind of assess where everything is, for your line heading into the first game?
Sure. Yeah, certainly lost very little to graduation last year, so felt really good about what we have coming back in the room. Certainly lost another player to opt out that was a key member of the D-line, but feel like with all the depth we have coming back, some guys who are making that transition, Cam Good, drop, Landon Woodson going from year 1 to year 2, that's a big jump. Excited to see what those guys do. Certainly the older guys, Kenny and Monty, they've been in the defense. Chris DeLoach, second year in the defense. A lot of depth. What was unique about it to me, Brandon, was the off-season development you miss at that position, the strength gains, and some of the things you want to see from changes of bodies of young guys, right? I guess the good news is we're in the same boat as everybody else across the country, but probably that's what you missed the most was that development in the weight room and missing spring ball. But fortunate, a lot of guys played in this defense last year, and so I'm excited. I think we're in a good spot. We're healthy. That's number one. We got healthy bodies going into this first game, and I feel like we have enough numbers where I'm going to have a pair and a spare, as you and I talked about, where I'm going to have 2 guys, a 2 deep everywhere, and then I'm going to have a 5th guy at least that I can roll at the tackle spot and at the end spot, if not a 6th guy. And last year we played a lot of guys.
Shane, you guys got a chance to see Georgia Tech play last week against Florida State. What is your impressions of their offense and their freshman quarterback, Jeff Sims?
Well, I know Jeff pretty good just because of our recruitment of Jeff, certainly here with our staff last year, so I'm very aware of Jeff. But certainly, again, you can see, even though they missed some of their development, they're a year older. They had a lot of guys back. Their center guard tackle have all started games for them, multiple games. They're all back. The new guard, the transfer from Tennessee, is a 20-something game starter in the SEC. So up front, you can tell they're a little better, a year older. They've developed quarterbacks, certainly, much like both their quarterbacks scare you with their feet and their ability to extend plays and escape the pocket. And Jeff certainly did a nice job of that. And I just think they bring a physical presence. Both their backs run downhill. They break tackles. With Coach Collins, I used to coach against Jeff when he was at Western Carolina and I was at Citadel when he was at Temple. They're going to get a physical brand of football. They're going to try to establish the run first. And I think anytime you have a young quarterback, anybody would want to do that. So we got to stop the run and then go from there.
Coach, has been mentioned by coaches and players so far this offseason. What have you seen from Keenan in camp?
Keenan, he's big and raw. He's a big old 6'3.5", 200, and we might be tipping it a little bit 300 right now, thanks to not having as much workouts. But he's a big kid, right? He's long, so at the point of attack, he doesn't get knocked around. He can do some knocking around. Doesn't play as fast as you want him to, just because I think it's freshman year. Didn't get the benefit of the spring, still learning the defense. But when Keenan goes and he plays fast, he's in a loaded stance. He knows where he's going. He's not thinking. He does some really good things because of his length and because of his size. And then I think he's got sneaky athleticism. He may not kind of walks like he's a 10-2 guy with his feet out, but man, when you see him running around, he's got sneaky athleticism to tackle. So it's really him just learning how to play with the intensity that you have to every snap. I don't think he's right where we want him yet. It took Kenny a year. I thought finally going into the year last year, Kenny learned how to play with intensity from snap to snap and had a good year. I think it takes time for guys to learn that. Sometimes it takes being in the fire, on Saturday is what I'm saying. You got to go out there and think, oh, this is what it's really like. And that's where he's at.
Coach, we obviously just spoke with Anthony Montalvo. He earned a scholarship last season, kind of came onto the scene. What do you want to see from him in this year, and how has he improved this offseason?
I think Monty, you talk about a guy, talk about development, and it fires me up because he's the kind of guy, I think I've told you, he brings it every day. And Kenny does too, Josh Seliskar, a lot of guys, Randy Charlton. But it's just fun to watch a guy like him who did what he did, earned his way, truly earned it. Certainly didn't get satisfied. I'll say that. He's bigger than he's ever been. He's moving around better than he ever has. So as he's gained size, I think sometimes you go into this COVID thing and based on what you have available to you and what your resources are, and everybody's different, he found a way to take advantage of it, came back bigger and more athletic. playing his best football right now as a redshirt junior. And I'm hoping that'll come out on Saturday. I'm counting on it. So he's playing his best ball right now.
You sort of touched on this, but I wanted to see if you could kind of elaborate on how the offseason affected some guys. Were guys able to make up the guys that didn't have the same sort of offseason program? How much were guys able to make up once they finally did get in? And also, when you actually think about the way the game is actually gonna unfold on the field, what sort of ways do you anticipate this crazy offseason affecting the actual football on the field?
Well, specifically to our position, I think guys just, didn't make the normal gains you'd make, whether that be strength gains, which you got to have that. You're taking on 600 pounds quite a bit, so strength is a big deal. Just missing that time in the weight room, even if they were at home, doing their own lifts, certainly it's not the same intensity when you're there with your teammates. So I think we all missed that against everybody else across the country. And then certainly, I don't think big guys are necessarily always fans of running, right? You give big guys an off-season workout and say, go. And usually you feel good they're going to jump on the weight room and push a bunch of weight. They don't like running around all the time. So, we came back a little bit behind the 8 ball in shape. But if you've seen us play, which you have, tempo is not an issue with our offense. So we certainly have been forced to adapt. I feel like from a conditioning standpoint, we're good. Again, I think because of the depth we have, we can roll guys, and it's something we want to do here. Full court press, play full speed for 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Let's get somebody else. I got confidence in all our guys that we put out there on Saturdays, and so I don't think it'll be an issue. Certainly got to be able to match their tempo. But we have enough depth where I think we'll have a chance to succeed.
Morning, Coach. You mentioned earlier some of the opt-outs. Obviously, one of them is Mason Chaliwa, and another one's Kendrick Wilson, who's going to be in his freshman season this year. Is there anybody you're looking at the defensive line position that, is going to step up specifically, or is this more of a group effort to fill in some of that depth?
Well, I'm going to give you a long answer. All right, here we go. I think Randy Charlton and Landon Woodson, Randy Charlton and Stephon Zayas, 2 redshirt juniors, or 1 redshirt junior, 1 true junior. I think both those guys are practicing with a purpose. Maybe where you're a young guy, you kind of go out there and run around. I think they're practicing with a purpose. Landon Woodson and Drop, Tremont Morris, Brash. I can't wait. I think they're playing faster because it's not thinking. It's year 2 in the defense. They're both going to make leaps. The young guy who's caught my eye, Josh Seliskar, I'll be honest with you, he's come in and given tremendous effort, tremendous strain, running the football. In our position, you can win doing that. I think you'll see Josh play significant snaps for us this year, along with Chris. Those 6 defensive ends right now. A couple of young guys still fighting and developing at tackle. It's going to take everybody, right? You talked about the opt-out. You guys know we lost 2 tackles in the opt-out. So guess what? In history, you may have had the luxury of waiting another year. Maybe I could give you, 5, 7 snaps a game. That may not be the case this year, big man. So I think what it does with the tackle position, it puts a little more urgency for the young guys to develop because you have 2 older guys in the room who are gone. Certainly, those snaps get shifted, either more snaps on the guys that have been playing, or you have to add snaps to the young guys. So, in a perfect world, I don't want to play my tackles 60 snaps in a game like I did Kenny at Tulsa. That's not the ideal world for us. So I think it's going to fall on those young guys to develop specifically.
Coach, you mentioned one of the true freshmen, Joshua Seliskar, is a player that, you're looking to contribute right away. What has he done specifically to kind of catch your eye and maybe to earn some early time?
Well, he's like a lot of these defensive ends we've been able to recruit. When you walk out, he's 6'2.5", so not as tall as a Landon Woodson or Stephon or some of those cats we've played with. But, boy, he's long in his arm length. So it gives you a chance to play with leverage. You can play with leverage even though he's a young guy because he has length. He plays so hard, Brandon, from snap to whistle. He's just a go, cat, go, man. It doesn't matter, 5th place, 6th place. I mean, he's out there. Whatever he's got, he's going to empty the tank. At this position, that gives you a chance. And then so he brings a physical nature with his length and leverage. He brings a get after it, the way he gets after it, snap to snap. And then I think what happens a lot of times with young guys is mentally it overwhelms you, right? The amount of playbook or the amount of offense you got to defend from our offense. I don't think Josh hit that wall. He finally did about 3 weeks in the camp. He had a freshman wall. He's fighting through that. But that's what gives me hope, just the way he plays, man. You ask our tackles, like, man, that guy never stops. And that, in our position, that'll win for you.
Coach, can you expound upon Trayvon Morris-Brash and what the expectations are like for him in his second season?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I tell Drop, I tell a lot of these guys, but Drop's a talented guy. He's got, if you go back and watch his high school tape, I think you'll see it. There's natural bend. He's got loose hips. He should be a force rushing the passer to me. Certainly, I think he showed up last year, and whether it was pressures or sacks or missed sacks, but the run game is where when you drop, he can't run up the field it's not every snap's third down. So as much as he likes to rush, sometimes we've got to slow him down. Hey man, let's press the space block. Don't make them backers play with shoulders 20 feet wide. So, but Drop, I got the sky's the limit. I really think Drop has as much talent as anybody I've coached, and it's for Drop to decide how far he wants to take that talent, with the amount of preparation he puts into practice, the amount of preparation he puts into film study. But I think if he's willing to do those things, sky's the limit for Drop.
Shane, with everything going on, with the COVID pandemic and everything, how important was it for your older guys, the Kennys and Randys, to step up and with leadership to maybe kind of bring these guys together when you guys maybe weren't around, so to speak?
Yeah, but like you said, we couldn't be around. So sometimes these guys were working out, on their own, at some volleyball sand court, getting plyo work or something. I get pictures here and there at somebody's home gym, getting the workout in. So certainly those guys took the bull by the horn. They were leading. Even yesterday I came in, we had a 4:30 afternoon meeting. I came walking in about 20 minutes early to set my room up. There was 16, D linemen or 18 D linemen, and they were watching tape on Georgia Tech, which wasn't a call meeting. It was just those guys, and that does happen from time to time. But certainly I feel it with this group, that they've done a good job trying to lead throughout the COVID break, and then as we've gotten into camp, trying to put the right amount of pressure on the young guys, right? Peer pressure. And there's a lot of ways to do it, but trying to put the right peer pressure on those young cats. Because like I said, the young guys either got to go or it falls back on the older guys. I think the older guys are also smart enough to know, as much as I want to play every snap, I can't play every snap. So I think they've been tuned in enough that they want to see that happen. They want to force that to happen. They've done a great job. All of them. Again, I don't have an old room. I only lose one guy this year, or two guys. I lose Kenny and Noah off this depth chart. So last year we lost one guy. This year we lose two. Just a young room, really, but it's exciting because some of the young guys are leading Vegas and Charlton. Doing a great job.
Okay, thanks, Coach. We'll end it there. Everybody, appreciate you being on, and we'll see you tomorrow with some offensive guys.
Thanks,
guys.
See you guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much, Coach.